So guys, the question that we are solving today is this: find the duplicate number. And this question has been asked in many companies like Amazon, Paytm, Zoho, Flipkart, Dshaw, Adobe, Bloomberg, Cisco. And for this particular question, we are going to see three different approaches. But before that, let's see what the question is saying. So we are given an array of n plus 1 integer where each number is in the range of 1 to n. And there is one number that repeats. But here is a twist. Repeating number can repeat multiple times. Okay, as in this example, the repeating number is repeating multiple times. So for this question, let's see the first approach. The first approach is going to be very simple. We will use two loops and we'll compare every element with every other element. And if any two element matches, then that is the duplicate element. The same thing we have done here in the code. Now let's come on to the second approach. We will be using a set, and while iterating over the array, we will store every element in the set. Okay, and while adding, if we find any element that already exists in the set, then that element is going to be my answer. For example, I will be adding, but when I am here and if I try to add this element, then I know that this element is already present in my set. So this element is going to be the duplicate element. So I will simply return that. Okay, and that's how we have done the same thing in the code. First we have a set here, then we are iterating over the array, and then we are checking if that element already present in the set, then it means that element is going to be my answer. If that element is not in the set, then we will simply adding it. And this is much better than brute force approach, but still it's not an optimal solution. Now coming on to the third approach. The third approach is going to be the most optimized solution and will definitely blow your mind. Here what we are gonna do, we will use the array element as indices. We will iterate over the array, and for every element we will take its absolute value and will use that value as an index. And after that we will navigate to that index and will mark that number negative. So what we are doing here, first we will iterate over the array. For example, if the value of I is here, I have this element, I will take its absolute value, okay, and will use this as an index. So I have index 1. Now I will go at this particular index and mark that element negative. So array of 1 means at this index I will mark 3 as negative. Okay, now when I am here, I will use this as an index again, and I will go to the second index again, and here what I noticed, that this element is already negative. So if we find any element that is already negative, it means that we have been here before. So it means that element is going to be the duplicate element. So this is going to be the answer. So the same thing we have done here in the code. What we are doing, we are iterating over the array, and for every array element we are taking its absolute value and using it as an index, and after that we are navigating at that index and marking that index element as negative. So here what we are checking, we are marking that index element as negative, but before that we are checking if the index element is already negative. If that index element is already negative, that it means that we have been there before. We have already checked that element with some other index. So that means that element is going to be the duplicate element, right? The dry run I have already explained here. And share this field with your friends. I will see you in the next video with another DSA concept.